Alright, guys. We are back at Union Station in Washington, D.C. Came back downtown today to give you guys an update on what was happening here and let you see sort of for yourself how things look. And I will tell you, it's a little bit different scene than it was the other day when we came out here. And so I'm going to let you see it for yourself because I was a little bit surprised when I got here. So this is Union Station, Washington, D.C. Please tap the screen for me, get some people in here, and I'll fill you in on what we're seeing and what's going on. But if you wouldn't mind, hit like, share, and we'll catch up on what's happening here. So this is Union Station. We came out here the other day, but things have changed a little bit, and apparently they changed pretty quickly. And I am not entirely sure why. So we're gonna find out maybe why. And I will go take a look around and find out. But we are here, and there are no Humvees anymore. So the Humvees are all gone, and no one seems to know where they have gone. I've asked around. The Hummers are gone. The military's gone. I don't know where they are. So I went inside and I saw two members of the military at a table that says something like Amtrak emergency response or something. But there is no one outside like there was the other day. When I was here last time, there were 5 Hummers out here, big brown Hummers, and a whole bunch of National Guards people. Today, everybody's gone. And I also heard that there was going to be some sort of a sit-in going on here. I don't see that either. I am not sure what's happening. And I went and asked, and some of the guys who've been sitting here say they don't know what's happening either. Nobody's really sure. By the way, can anybody hear me? Is the mic working? Let me know if the mic is working, because I'm not totally sure if you can hear what I'm saying or not. For all I know, you are... Okay, good. All right. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind hitting like a couple times, we'll get some people in here, and I'll keep you up to date. Now, here is what I am seeing, all right? Couple of big changes since the last time we were here. 1, there are no Hummers. 2, there is no military. If you will recall, well, I believe right where I'm standing and then right over here, there were 2 Hummers sitting, and then there was another one sitting somewhere over there. Those are all gone, and the 2 that were over there are gone. All the Hummers are gone, and there is no one sitting out here in camouflage. There were, 20 people out here the other day. They are all gone. Everybody's gone. And I don't know what's happened. And I've asked, according to some of the guys who've been sitting out here, everybody seems to have disappeared sometime, we believe, Saturday or Sunday. All those trucks just went somewhere else. And we don't know. Yes, I am in Washington, D.C. I'm here at Union Station. And I came out here probably about a week ago, and there were 5 Humvees out here, and I'm gonna say 20 guys in fatigues out here, just guarding. And I thought, all right, I'm gonna come out and see what's changed, see how the situation's changed today. And the situation has changed in that they're all gone. Now, interestingly, there is a ton more press out here, a lot more press. They are everywhere. Like there's right there. There was a guy. There are so many cameras set up around right now. So I'm not sure if something has been announced. I didn't see anything, so I don't know what's going on. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting like a couple of times, and we'll get some people in here. Sorry, I'm drinking water because it's very, very hot. I've also heard somewhere here there is supposed to be a sit-in, a former military who said they are going to sit in at Union Station until there is... I heard there's a sit-in protest starting, but I can't find it. And it's supposed to be here, from my understanding. They're on their way here now. Okay, so that's what's going on. So they're on their way here. All right, well, then I am going to be here when they get here, I guess. So if you guys want to be here, we'll just be sitting here waiting for them. We are at Union Station in Washington, D.C., and I guess we're going to be here for a little bit because apparently there is a group, there's a sit-in protest. I thought it had already started. Apparently they are marching here, presumably either from the Capitol or the White House, and we're going to see them in a little bit. Saw a few live walking around a few minutes ago. Okay, all right, so they're heading over this way then. What is interesting, and for those of you who missed this a minute ago, all of the military presence here is gone. It's gone. And the last time I was here, which was about a week ago, there were, yeah, I thought, I thought they were here. They are gone. There were 5 Hummers. There were 2 right here and 3 kind of spread around this lawn, and they are all gone now. And there were about 20 guys in fatigues out here. Everybody's gone. I went inside and I found about 3 guys sitting at a table that said, or they were standing next to a table that said Amtrak emergency response. So that is the only people I can find anywhere who look to be military. Where this place was kind of, there was a lot of military presence here the other day. So, so I don't know what's happened, but apparently there is a sit-in that is on its way here right now. This protest of military veterans who are protesting the occupation, and they are walking here from somewhere. My understanding was that they were already here. I was just told by somebody in the comments that they are on their way. So we will see when they arrive. If you guys wouldn't mind tapping the screen a couple of times, I would appreciate it. And one of the interesting things I noticed the other day is that even with the military here, there wasn't really much of a change. And the one thing it was very, very quiet when I was here the other day. The military was here and kind of no one else. The only other people who were here were homeless people, which, considering that was sort of what the claim was, is that was somehow going to change. I thought that was interesting. But you can see there's news set up over there. There's news set up over there. Looks like they have a more fancy setup. They got lights and things. So something, that whatever that protest is on its way here, I guess, and people are ready for some sort of a showdown. DC's very pretty. I love this town. And we'll see. Actually, here while we're standing here. So this is This is technically a traffic circle here in front of Union Station, and it is called Columbus Circle because of this giant statue here, which has, kind of peeking out on the side there, a statue of Columbus, Christopher Columbus, and he is staring at, if I can get there in a moment, let's see here, there he is, up on top there, looking straight down at the Capitol building. So it's a nice, pretty view. I think that might be Louisiana Avenue. I'm not sure. But yeah, so the Capitol's right there, straight shot from Union Station. And what we are doing right now, so for those of you who wandered in, I came here about a week ago and was here to kind of show you guys what the military presence looked like at Union Station, because it was right after there was a bunch of videos posted on the internet that looked all sort of crazy, and I had a feeling if I came down here it would probably be a little bit quieter, and it was was actually very quiet, but there were a lot of people here. There was a lot of military presence here. They are gone. The Hummers are gone. The people are gone. And I've asked around. No one seems to know where they went. So I don't know if that has to do with the increased presence in Maryland. Can I go to Anacostia? Well, I can, but it would be a little bit tough to do. It's the other side of a river, and it's a bit of a hike from here. It's a bit of a walk. So I'd have to get there. So I could theoretically go there, but it would be hard for me to get there from where I am right now. If you guys wouldn't, hit somebody's hitting, and I appreciate it, but just hit the thing. So the sit-in is supposedly happening somewhere. I think someone said in the comments that it's on its way over here. I actually did ask the guys in the tent where they went, and they did not know. So I went and asked, and they said they weren't sure. Oh, you mean where the protesters or the sit-in guys are going? I can go ask them that. Actually, I think I did. No, we did ask them that. They said that they weren't sure where they were either. So I think that what's happened is that they've gone over to the White House or something, and then they're hiking back. Okay, so here comes, right on schedule, there are a bunch of guys in uniform walking out of the station. So there we go. There was nobody here, and now there are 6. But there's nowhere for them. Before they were kind of all standing around the vehicles. Now I think they're just going to stand there in the middle. So there we go. So as I'd said earlier, the last time I was here, there was a really big military presence, and then when I showed up today, everybody was gone, and I was very confused. Well, now we have 6 guys in uniform, 6 people in uniform, and looks like they walked out, split in half. One group went one way, one group went the other, and I don't know where they're going, where they're headed. Guess maybe these guys are just going to stand over there. So and I will actually, just real fast, I'm going to ask if this person knows what's going on with the... Pardon me. Yes. Do you know where the sit-in... Are they walking over the sit-in, the protest? Are they...
Right now, you mean over at the courthouse?
Is that where... Okay.
Right now, they're going over to the courthouse to support the gentleman that was arrested for filming.
Okay. All right.
And then I believe at 2...
Okay. All right.
Today's my day. I'm switching motels. So
Okay.
I'm a little out of...
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was just checking.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure today at 2 they're going down to the White House.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure. I was expecting here somewhere, so I wasn't sure.
We're not remotely dressed for court.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right. Thank you. So. So, okay, apparently there's a court case this morning for the gentleman who was arrested for filming the other day, and a lot of people went over to support him. Okay, now we have gone from 6 to 9. I don't know. Maybe everybody was on their lunch break. Maybe that's what just happened. Maybe this was the military lunch break, because all of a sudden we went from 0 military to 9 military, everybody in groups of 3. There's 1 group, there's 2 groups, there's 3 groups. Not really sure. But there. So that is apparently where people are at the moment. Courthouse is nearby, a few blocks away. And she said she thought they were going to the White House in a little bit. I don't know if who is there and who is where. Let's see here. I have something called a flash goal, which I don't use a lot of the live things, but I'm gonna put it on there anyway. Well, so I've heard somebody just said that, if they wouldn't leave the watch unmanned, and it probably depends on what the purpose is here. I don't think that I think that objectively, without any political commentary here, this is not a spot. This is not a hot spot. You would put. This seems to be kind of one of the number one places that they've put people, but it's not one of the number one places you would put people if you were trying to achieve some of the goals that they've stated directly. If you were trying to achieve those goals by making a big presence, letting people know you were here, which is a way of achieving those goals potentially. Just letting people know you're here might be enough. And in that case, the mission might be just to be seen. And so in that case, taking an hour lunch break wouldn't be such a big deal. Just, trying to put that into context. Just, logically reframing. So, okay, now we're down to 3, I guess. I think maybe some people went inside. It is also pretty quiet out here, mostly. Like I said, there seem to be more, almost more journalists walking around than anyone else. So, for whatever that's worth. And this over here, this has been just kind of set up. These 2 protest tents have been set up sort of the whole time. These guys were here the other day as well. And I think they're just kind of out here all the time. Setting up sort of a contrary presence. And I don't know, maybe these guys are going to head over. Might be heading over to the Capitol. No, I think everybody's just walking the circle. I think that's pretty much what's happening. Is people are just going to walk around the circle. I did not see the recent executive order. They're on H Street. Interesting. Who is over there? Is it the protesters or the National Guard? Or circle walking is the best walking. It's true. You always know where you are, right? So yeah, I'm seeing more and more expensive cameras get set up constantly. So something is definitely on its way here. The veterans are having a music festival. Is that over on H Street? 1 year in jail for burning the American flag, which is, that is settled law. So whatever. The veterans are on their way here. Okay. I think so too, because like I said, since I arrived, when I got here, You could see there were definitely some journalists here, and they seem to start setting up. Now the cameras are going on tripods, and they're expensive cameras, so something's happening. We'll see what it is. If you guys wouldn't mind tapping your screen a couple of times, I would appreciate it. Just tap the screen a few times. It is a beautiful day. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right. So we have military walking around here, just kind of in groups. A lot of them are answering questions. People are curious. Hey, Frenchie, where are you? Yep. I live right up the street. Actually, when I did this the other day, I just walked here. Today, I decided to take the metro because it's hot. Oh, it's not too bad. That with the storm off the coast is cooling things down a little bit. So there is some military presence here. When I first arrived, there was none, and then all of a sudden, there have been, a few have just sort of wandered in. I arrived and there was no one here, which surprised me because when I was here last week, there was a big presence. And I got here, nobody was here for quite a while, and then this group has just sort of emerged. And this lady is asking them questions. They're all sort of huddled around her. So I don't know what's going on over there. Thank you very much. Thank you, Wolf. And here we go. Now we're getting expensive camera. Now the guy with an iPad. Camera set up over there with actual lighting and stuff. Things are warming up, and I hear that the protest may be marching over this way. Hey, B-Swing. Yep, that's me. I'm Brian from Cincinnati, Ohio, indeed. I have a very thick Cincinnati accent, which means I will never tell you if I don't like something you did. I will just tell you one very discreet, nice thing about it, and you will have to interpret the fact that I didn't like it. That is the Cincinnati accent. Yeah, the vets are supposed to be on their way here, from what I understand. They're over on H Street, which is in that direction a little bit. But it's a long street. I'm not sure where they are on H Street. I'm by the way, I'm following information from people in my comments. So, hey there, childless millennial. How you doing? I didn't talk to them. I talked to them the other day. I didn't talk to them today because like I said, when I got here, there was nobody here, and they all just sort of arrived together, and I don't know. I am not sure where to sit in. So, Taco, I'm sitting at Union Station again. I came out to see how things had changed, and the thing that when I first arrived here, the biggest change is that if anybody saw the other day, there were 2 big Hummers right here, and they are gone, and there were 3 more over there, and they're all gone. So all of the equipment is gone, and when I arrived, there was absolutely zero military presence at all. And then after I'd been here for a little while, some people showed up, and now there is a little bit of a presence. But so there's a few over here, but still not a big, there's just a little clump of people over here. I would say I've seen a total of about 9. I don't know, Aaron might be here somewhere too. I don't know. I do not. Well, I will tell you that those pictures that we saw online of people carrying big, viewable machinery. I'm not seeing that. There's nothing I see that is visible. I don't know if there's anything, deep in the uniforms, but no. I don't, I think that maybe those pictures that we saw online are stock footage or something like that. But I don't see anyone packing, so to speak. You know what? I guess I could go. I don't know if I'm allowed to. So once again, somebody just called me out for being from Cincinnati, and I have a weird thing about being rude. Hey guys, question. I noticed nobody seems to be carrying weapons. Is anybody carrying them anymore?
Some units are. Some
okay.
Are.
All right. I figured that probably the shots online were stock, but I was curious. So, all right. Okay. Cool. Thank you guys.
You're great, Jason.
Thanks, you too. So that was the word for those of you who were curious. Is they said some units are carrying them, but some are not. But none of them. Was I wrong? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure what I was wrong about. It says I can invite Aaron Parnas 1 to join as a guest, but I don't think that's Aaron. Oh, stock footage. They said maybe. So I don't know. Just a guess. But that was actually that suggestion came to me from one of the guys over in the tent, because they said that that they had not seen anything, and they said that they thought it might have been stock footage. I said okay, so we'll see. But so. Oh, they're gone. I think they headed over to the Capitol. All right, so we are sitting here waiting to see if these protesters make their way over, or what happens there. The lady over there said a wind filter. I actually have a wind filter on my microphone, but it is kind of breezy. I will tell you, there's a nice breeze going on today, and I'm outside, so there's a fair amount of breeze going on. Sorry about that. The other day I did this with AirPods, but then nobody could hear anything going on outside. So I thought this might be better. I don't know. Okay, thank you, Isabel, and we'll see what's happening there. And find out. To catch everybody up, if you hadn't heard this before. Oh, by the way, if you guys wouldn't mind tapping the screen, I would appreciate it. I'd been here last week. Took a look at everything, and when I came in, there were about 5 Hummers out here, and maybe 18 military members. That might be pushing it. Maybe it was 15 members of the military. And there's another camera. So something's going on, guys, because this is another. These guys have bags with them. They're setting up another hotspot. So I came up here the other day, and it was, a lot of people here. There's still nothing going on, but it was a lot of people. And I came back, and all of the equipment was gone, and there was no one here, no military here, and I was very confused. I was gonna just, go and show you guys what had happened, but so anyway, and then after a little while, some have shown up. There's a few here, but not a ton, but still no vehicles. There is a lot of press. So something is coming. I'm gonna go ask them at least what happened to the Hummers and everything. Hey guys, what happened to all the Hummers and stuff?
Say again?
All the Hummers that were out here?
It's a different unit.
Oh, okay. So they just rotated people out?
Right. Yes, sir.
Got it. Okay. All right. And I was kind of surprised. I came out because I did this last week and there were just a lot more people. Just fewer now? Is there any?
Sorry?
It just seems...
Same amount of people.
Is it really?
Same amount of people.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, cool. Okay, well, that answers that. Thank you. You too.
Where's the Humvee?
Oh.
They took your wheel?
So I'm not the only one asking. So that was the question, is that the Hummers are gone because this is a different unit. And that other unit was here last week, I guess. When they brought in the new unit, they didn't have Hummers with them. So the unit, I guess, or the Hummers left with the unit. And whoever just walked up, who was definitely a hill staffer, on his way over to the hill, was joking with them as well. Who took your Humvee? So I think I am at Union Station. This is at Union Station, which has been one of the spots that has just been very heavily patrolled for whatever reason over the last couple of weeks. So it is not usually this slow. Here, I will tell you that if I were coming in on a train today, I would be using a different entrance than this one, because everybody knows that this is where all the craziness is going on, and I wouldn't want to deal with the craziness. There's a back entrance, so that's the way I'd go, right? But yeah, normally it's a nice day. There'd be people out here. It's a big grassy area. There'd be people around. Usually there'd also be food trucks and stuff around, which are all, I just noticed that. There's no hot dog vendors, there's nothing like that. They're all gone. So I'm not sure what's happening there. Isabel, did you see, they're headed across town to Union Station. So they're on their way here, apparently. Thank you, Isabel. And that's what I was sort of wondering and kind of waiting for. I had a feeling they were probably on their way here. It's a group of veterans who are going to be doing a sit-in. My understanding is they'll be doing it here at Union Station for the duration, or that's their intent, of the occupation. But we are here at Union Station, Washington, D.C. Woo! I just got buzzed by a pigeon. And to confirm, for those of you who didn't, they get rid of the vendors too. I'm just guessing that the vendors are probably just set up somewhere else. If nobody's here to buy your stuff, you're probably going to set up somewhere else. So that would be my guess. But usually, you can get a hot dog, and that's all gone. There's just nobody here. This is, it's a big, pretty grassy area that people hang out, and it's surrounded by grassy areas. So on a beautiful day, there would be people here, and there's just nobody here. People are just sort of crossing through. Everybody's passing through. Nobody wants to. This isn't where anybody wants to hang out right now. You'll also see that these tourist buses are kind of empty. So nobody's coming to visit either, and it's like a beautiful day. Like that bus should be full in the middle of summer. There are always vendors here because of all of these office buildings around me. I am surrounded by big office buildings. That's the Senate office buildings right behind there, and all of these big office buildings. There are always a ton of vendors out here, and they're not here right now. So that might be it. Maybe kids are going back to school. Maybe that's the end of the season. But when I was here last week, these were dead too. So the one group of people that is still here, actually, ironically, are the homeless. There are still plenty of homeless people around. So I don't know what was happening with that, but yeah. All right. I'm just gonna. I don't. We're here to learn and stuff. Like, I'm not here to push anything. But I'm really just here to show you guys what's going on. Ooh. All right, buddy. So, okay, guys, just real fast. That is what happens when a Virginia driver and a Maryland driver meet. That's pretty funny. Virginia drivers and Maryland drivers do not get along. And it's pretty hilarious because DC is like the middle between them, and they always have trouble. Yes, polite conversation ensues indeed. Yes. All right. I mean, no. Good old city traffic. So, to catch you guys up, we're at Union Station in Washington, D.C., watching Maryland and Virginia drivers try to figure out how to navigate the same street together. And I will tell you that I'm looking at the license plates. There's not a single DC license plate in that whole line. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We are waiting. Apparently, there is a group of protesters on their way here. They're veterans who have been somewhere. They're marching. They're doing some sort of a sit-in, and they'll be here soon. And the press presence has increased dramatically recently, so I figured I would stay here and let you guys see what's going on from behind the cameras rather than just the clips, which I think is very important. I think it's really important to not just see the interesting clips, the stuff that's been cut together. So I'm a DC resident. I can tell you how I feel. What do you want to know? I've lived here for 22 years. But, all right, so you're very welcome. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a little walk around because we've got a minute here, I think. Just let you see. Actually, tell you what, we're gonna go walk inside for a second and I'll show you what's happening inside, which is probably not much, but why not see that? Are the protests outside the Heritage Foundation? I think that they said that would be happening at 4 p.m. this afternoon. So, and again, to be clear, guys, I like to report on law, that sort of thing. I'm here, but I do think that media narratives can be a little bit problematic, and that is my primary goal here, is to spend as much time here and let you guys see this as much as I can with your own eyes, rather than cut out clips of interesting moments. So, so this is Union Station. I think it's so pretty. I really like it here. They're here somewhere? Okay, well, we'll find them in a minute, but I'm going to show you guys. I think that, pardon me, guys. Thank you. So, here we are. This is like the main hall. And pretty quiet. And again, I do not see any presence inside. So it does look like, I think there might be some sort of an event going on over there for Amtrak emergency management. All the Amtrak offices for the national company are kind of through that door, off to the right and upstairs. I've actually done some work for them, and I worked in those offices for a while, which was really exciting for me because I love this station and I love trains in general. But so okay, here we go. There's a little bit of a couple of military guys walking around. They're in groups of threes. I don't know if you guys can see them in there. And right across those guys are walking around, but that's kind of the only thing I see in here. I want to make sure I don't lose my connection if I get too deep in the building. So, but there we go. I love trains. So, and I love train stations. I think they're always, even when they're not pretty, they're always interesting. So, but this one is very pretty. Okay, so it's relatively quiet in here. Just, people coming, going to and from their trains. We have, I grew up in the Midwest, in parts of the Midwest where trains weren't as big of a deal. I guess Chicago it's a big deal, but Cincinnati, not such a big deal anymore. Not passenger rail anyway. And so I'm really excited to be somewhere where so many people take the train. But there's a lot more use of the train here to get around. Head back out, mostly because I don't want to lose connection, and I don't know. Marauding gangs. Let's see. I don't see any yet. I'll keep an eye out. So I think that, first of all, there's a possibility that they're somewhere else around here somewhere, but I think out front would be a center point. See if I can do this without getting hit by anybody. Let's see. Would you guys mind tapping your screen for just a second? They were at the Capitol. Oh, okay. Well then, so there's the Capitol. So they were right there. And apparently the plan is for them to head here. So they're not far. The press is still out here doing their thing, but we'll see for how long. Let's see, what do we say here? They were right next to the tent. Okay, well. Now, I don't know if Isabel's still in here, but she said she went over and looked and they were headed this way. So, gift goal, make it like 100 roses or something, just to get the live out. All right, let's see. Raccoon, you know I'm not good at this. Let's see here. All right, here we go. See if that did it. Did that do it? All right, guys, we're trying out this live goal. All right, let's see. Thank you. And yeah, if anybody else, if you wouldn't mind doing that or tapping the screen, we'll get some people in here and show them what's going on firsthand. Oh, okay. Oh, what is? Oh, those are Cap Cops. So that's U.S. Capitol Police. Usually, they tend to stay over there at the Capitol. You don't usually see them wandering. So that's interesting. Cap Cops usually stay in their lane. Reset the goal. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. So for those of you who obviously don't live here, on a regular day, we have something like 40, it's like 39 or 42, some number like that, individual police organizations within the district. So there are always a ton of different police organizations around, and we're kind of used to that anyway, which is, so, you know, the Capitol Police and the FBI, like they all kind of operate here normally anyway, but they all sort of usually stay, not because they have to, but just because they're busy, you know, they got work to do. They sort of stay in their areas. But they don't have to. They can, you know, I remember at one point we had, a friend of mine lived in a house that for some reason had a sign out front that said it was an embassy, and it was not, but the house, it said it was. And so they, one night, you know, we had a party that got too loud, and somebody called the cops, and the police showed up, and because it was an embassy, they ended up calling like 4 different police organizations trying to figure out who was allowed to go in, until somebody just came and knocked on the door. I'm like, could you turn the music down? But that is just one of the realities of living in DC, is that there are multiple police organizations that we just sort of deal with and have here. So thank you guys very much. So that's just that is just sort of day-to-day normal stuff. But like I said, usually, I mean, it's not that the Cap Cops aren't allowed over here. You just don't usually see them here because they're busy doing stuff over there. So, and it's a block and a half away, so it's not a huge surprise that they're over here. But it is, and I may not have even noticed it if it weren't for what's going on. So that's Union Station. Yep, that's a lion's butt. That is the Capitol building. So the Capitol building is very, very close to Union Station. You want me to reset it again? Oh my gosh. All right. Thank you guys. Let's see. Oh my gosh. All right. Thank you guys. Let's see. Let's see here. Come on. Also, guys, so I learned my lesson from last time, and I have a backup battery, which I need to plug in right now. Hold on. Because last time I was here, I ran out of battery. And I said, I am not letting that happen again. But all right, let's see. Thank you guys very much. All right. All right, game changer. Yeah. I mean, I haven't been doing this for all that long. This is relatively new for me. So I'm still sort of figuring this out. This is not the Anchor. It's a slightly different one. I've had the Anchor ones in the past, and they're great. This is just... I'm not even sure what this one is. Let's see. I've acclimated beautifully. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys being here to help. I do feel like, I took about a week and a half off and just kind of watched some, maybe a month or so ago, month and a half ago, and just spent some time studying how to kind of improve my game a little bit. And it seemed to have helped a bit, so. And that is where I came up with the idea for the morning report. Which also has made it a little bit easier for me to do stuff like this because I'm not stuck in my house all day, every day, making videos. I have some time in the afternoon, once I get the video out, to go do lives and things like that. Once I get past the quote-unquote morning, which is usually around 12:30, 1 o'clock. Still not hitting that actual morning. Thank you, Belinda. I am so glad. I am putting a lot into it. Oh yeah, share the live, tap the screen. Thank you guys. I know, it is hard to understand the all that stuff, and it was the sheer number of these cases is so much I can't keep track, and it was starting to all blend together in my head, and it was really bothering me. And I thought, okay, somebody's got to do something about this, and who else is going to do it? So I was like, I guess I'm going to do it. So here, that's what the morning report is. And that's the other problem is I get really, really annoyed. I miss the whiteboard too. And I want to get back to it once I get the morning report to a spot where it's actually popping out in the morning and I can get it done in, an hour or two instead of, it still takes me about 4 hours every morning. But once I can get it down, that'll help. Reset again. Oh my gosh, you guys. All right. Let's see then. Where is the... Let's see here. Reset. There we go. Make it a time. Oh, okay. Well, I will after this one. Sorry. Tell you what, guys. Here's what we're gonna do for a minute. Because I don't think we necessarily need to be here the minute they show up. I don't know when that's gonna happen anyway. I'm gonna walk you guys over to the Capitol building for a second. We'll just walk down the street and we'll just take a look and see what it looks like. Does that sound... Thank you very much, Raccoon. I appreciate it, and I'll switch it over. Woo! Oh, that... So that, is, by the way, guys, is that hurricane breeze. If you can hear that wind, that is the temperature has shifted so much here in the last few days since that hurricane is off of the coast. It feels amazing having that breeze come through here. So, all right, we're gonna walk over to the Capitol and see what it looks like there. Since we're so close. And just go take a look. The vets were running ice off. R85, do you know where they were? That's interesting. I don't, if something is going to happen here, I don't want to leave. I did notice that the really expensive journalism setup with the lights and everything that was right here on the corner has left, which tells me that whatever they were expecting to happen either didn't happen or already happened or something. They were in front of Union Station, but they only posted it 30 minutes. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. Well, I can't help but wonder if that's why. That was what I honestly thought when I showed up here and there was just no one here. No military, nothing else. And I knew that there had been this group of veterans down here, was that there'd been some sort of a dust-up. I couldn't imagine that the U.S. military had had a dust-up and then abandoned the area. That seemed really unlikely, but I also couldn't explain it any other way. So, they're in front of the White House now. Okay, well, that's a bit of a walk. But, so there's all of these really nice little parks and stuff around, right around the Capitol. So, okay, here we go. Let's see. I'm supposed to do... Let's see then. I'm gonna switch this out. I'm looking, Raccoon. I'm flipping through these for the finger heart. It's also very, very bright and a little bit hard to see here. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, here we go. There it is. Okay. So we are walking down, and we're gonna see. I mean, there's always a possibility that usually you can get right up to the Capitol building, but they may have blocked some things off. We'll find out. But there are just all of these really nice gardens right around the Capitol, which are just really nice. And somewhere in here, and I wish I knew exactly where it was, I can never remember. It's one of those things that I just sort of run into all the time. Well, not all the time, but whenever I'm down here, but I don't think I could ever find it. There is this it's a spring house. It's an old spring house from, 100 years ago. That's really, really pretty. Let's see here. So we're gonna head up. You can't really see it, but right behind, you can sort of see, so that, you can sort of see right through the trees there is the statue of, oh, come on, it's not Liberty. I forget her name, but she is on top of the Capitol building, facing to the northeast, which is where they thought that the city would develop, and it did not. Developed more to the northwest. So, and this is, let's see. The summer house. Okay, the summer house. Yeah, there we go. I think it is Columbia. I think you might be right. Now, I used to know all of these things by heart because you become a tour guide whether you want to or not when you live in this city. Everybody comes here and you got to walk them around, show them things, and it's fun. But now I kind of forget a lot of it. Been here too long. All my family's heard all my stories at this point. And over here is the Russell Building. That's one of the Senate office buildings. So, the senators, they go into the Capitol building to do the actual voting and things, but they have their offices here in these office buildings that are right next door. And then on the other side of the building is the House.
Like a month later.
And they have all of their office buildings on the south side. I've started to sprinkle in little lies as I show people around DC. That's hilarious. Here we have a big fountain over there. Now, once again, though, I am not seeing any sort of protective presence, and I think that is worth noting because, well, I mean, we are sort of given the impression, I think, from the news that there is there's a lot of presence around, and it's not that any, you can make a decision based on whether or not any presence is too much presence, and I am perfectly happy with you to make that decision, but I also don't want you to get the impression incorrectly that every street has someone pointing something scary at you. And I especially don't want you to do that because if that should change at some point, if the presence should increase at some point, it's important to note that things have changed. So here we are, there's the Capitol. What's it like by the universities? I haven't been over there. Am I for or... I think you can probably figure that out, but that's really not what I report on. That's not really what I do. I do my absolute best at this point in my, let's say, content creation career to report as little on policy, which are the decisions of politicians, as possible. I report on law, I report on the decisions of lawyers and judges, which sometimes are very hard to tell the difference, but they are different. All right. And the reason that I do that is that there are so many people reporting on policy who probably know more than I do. There aren't many people who really stay in the lane of reporting on the law, because it's, like I said, it's hard to do. It's hard to keep your mouth shut about this other stuff and stick to just that one subject, and I think somebody has to. Ooh, all right, so that's the, there's these gates that they put in, and they're just squeaky. All right. And there's the monument way over there. We are, by the way, when you say Capitol Hill, that is a big hill, if you can't tell. If you heard me huffing and puffing a little bit as I walked up there, it's because we were walking up Capitol Hill. When, apparently when someone, I don't know if it was, I don't think it was L'Enfant, somebody saw this big hill and said it looked like a body looking for a head, I think. And that's why they called it the Capitol, which means head, and built the Capitol, Latin for head, on top, which is why we spell the Capitol with T-O-L instead of T-A-L, as in capital city. Okay, so we have some, there we go. Lacey says that there were National Guard by the GW Metro stop on Thursday or Friday for a while. I got on at Shaw today and did not see anybody. I think I saw one police officer, and that's normal. It's actually, I think, a relatively new thing that they have police officers in the stations. That's been, I think, a relatively new thing that they have police officers in the stations. That's been the last couple of years, maybe. Not all, some of the stations, the more busy stations, but the quieter stations usually. That was sort of a, I think, a policy decision to start having police officers in the stations. It is ghostly quiet out here. Very, very quiet. So here we are. This is the base of the Capitol building. Very, very quiet. So here we are. This is the base of the Capitol building. Oop, I may have lost connection for a minute, sorry. If I lost connection for a minute, I apologize. I think my data might be blocked up there or something. So I'm gonna head back down a little bit. It is a beautiful day, and I was saying that there's this this storm off the coast that I think is blowing in just this really nice weather. So yeah, there's up here, there's no, and there, right, by the way, is the Supreme Court right through there. I'm just gonna take you over and just at least let you see it. I think it's under construction, but that's the Supreme Court. And yeah, a lot of trees in the way. Anyway, all right, so we'll head back over and see if anything is going on at Union Station. But that gives us a sense. I was curious to see whether there was going to be a military presence around the Capitol. There is not. So now we know. I will say, now that I think about it, that a military presence around the Capitol might have had some implications, some separation of power implications that I didn't really consider until I just thought about it. So I don't know. If they didn't ask for it, there may have been, I may have had some issues. So I don't know, but they're not there. So now we know. And we will head back down to Union Station. Thank you, raccoon. Oh, there's another one of those gates. Those were all put up after 2001. They also built these sort of big marble structures that are kind of, they're planters, but they're also ways of stopping big trucks from getting through. Let's see. All right. So that's Constitution Avenue. Infamous Constitution Avenue. And I'm not certain, but my guess is that what you're seeing, those taller buildings over there, are probably Roslyn, Northern Virginia. Not positive, but they look a little tall for DC. Or maybe Crystal City, but Arlington, one way or another. So somebody just said it looks safe. Well, I mean, first of all, this area is always going to be pretty safe, no matter when you're here. But it is also very, very quiet. Like, it's eerie, really eerie how quiet it is. And somebody did point out and something I did not think of until somebody pointed out, is that school has started potentially, and so. We're not in summer anymore. So that may have some impact on who's out here. But I was checking to see if somebody was walking by in a suit. I was checking to see if there was anybody you guys would want to see. There's that wind is just blowing in from that storm. It feels amazing. But probably between the fact that school had just started and I don't know, but it is eerily quiet. So we're heading back to Union Station now. You can see it right in front of us. Make sure I don't get hit by a car. This isn't an active street, so it's pretty safe. But you can see right in front of us is that statue of Christopher Columbus. We're gonna head back toward That's cute. That little... Okay. You can see from the traffic lights, these were active streets at one point, but now they're all closed off, and they are just for Senate parking. Or for other, for government parking. You can only get in here if you have some ability to get past those big, heavy gates. We'll go find out. If anybody has any update on what's going on, they might get me for jaywalking. Well, I will tell you that this has been sort of a concern of mine. We have, you have those, when you've lived somewhere for a long time, you have those laws that nobody follows and that aren't really enforced. And in DC, jaywalking is definitely one of those laws that just doesn't get enforced. People on foot own the streets of DC. It is very much a walking city. And the laws are designed around making it difficult to drive here and making it easier to walk. That is like a decision that they have made They make it hard to park, they make it hard to drive, and they make it easy to walk in. So the rules are generally designed around that idea. But I have been concerned that, if other people are coming in and enforcing the rules who don't know that, that I don't know what that could mean. Do I need to worry about things like that? About jaywalking and still little things like that. But who knows? So this is a concern. Is there a sit-in? So I'm heading back over to see if that's why we did that little walk to knock off a little time there. Is the White House blocked off at all, or can you still reach the gate? I do not know. Have not been over there in quite a while. It's just sort of out of my, the direction that I walk right now. So I'm not sure how far up you can get. All right, let's see. There was I know, there have been time periods in the past that the whole area around there have been closed off. That is usually, as a matter of policy, considered sort of not a great look. That being the people's house, as it were. All right, so we're back here at Union Station, where it is, I would say, even more quiet. So I don't know if anybody has an update on the protesters. But it looks very, very quiet here. What I'm going to do is, if anybody can check in and let me know what's the atmosphere like. Okay, so here I'll give you a quick update on what I would say the atmosphere is like. I would say people who live here, very upset in theory. Most of us aren't seeing much of a change. Where I live, I have not seen a National Guard member, a federal police officer, anything like that. Nothing has changed where I live. The irony being that I live in a slightly more dangerous neighborhood than the places where you are seeing most of the police presence and military presence. So I'm more upset about the concerns that I have than the actual practice of it. It's hurting our economy and all of that stuff. That's bothersome. So generally not happy about it. But so far, as far as walking around where I live, it hasn't changed a whole lot. I would say, if anything, there have been no police officers in my neighborhood lately, because they're all being moved to these other places where they're supposed to be seen, instead of where we might actually need them. So that's kind of annoying. But okay, whatever. Yeah, it probably could use some water. Looks a little dry. It's been a hot summer up till recently. So that would be my response to that. They're heading to the sit-in. To here, Moo Moo? Heading back to Union Station right now. Okay. Well, tourism is down. I know I've heard that a couple of friends who work in restaurants are having a lot of trouble. Nobody's coming in. they had we have something called Restaurant Week every year, which is you know the fanciest restaurants in town. You pay something like $35 and get a 3-course or 5-course meal or something. It's really, really cool. You get to go to all the nice restaurants. And apparently nobody's booking reservations for Restaurant Week. There's a bunch of open reservations for Restaurant Week, which is unheard of. So that's not great. Nobody really wants to go out. People are kind of scared to go out. So, all right. So this is a different. There's been a change of since I've been here now. There was no military here when I arrived. Then there were about 3 groups of 3 that showed up, and now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that guy might have been here before, but the rest of them I do not recognize. Those are different people than were here before. So, why is tourism down? Yeah, I don't think people want to. They're kind of scared about something going wrong. Something scary happening, and they just don't want to be here when it does. People come here. People come to. I think a lot of people come to DC for the. It's relatively, it's a good place to bring your family. It's all that kind of stuff. So, I know this guy. You guys recognize him? So this, you don't want to bring your family to some place where a big fight might break out. That's not a good idea. You got, recognize him? Hi. Just waving. We're live. I didn't mean, I feel like I interrupted him. Didn't want to. I think a lot of people from other countries aren't coming because I think he does. Yeah, I think he does troll people. I don't think crime wasn't up. So crime was down. Crime was significantly down. We had a brief period where it was up like a year ago, maybe sometime, but it's been down for a while. So I haven't noticed any kind of change in crime. But it's I think there's been a lot of problems with people crossing the border from other countries, the problems with the visas and things like that. And so it's just become, I think that has had a lot to do with people, just from a practical standpoint, not, picking somewhere else to go. Why deal with that mess when you're on vacation? Pick somewhere else. So. All right. So let's see here. If it's over 150% and then it's down to 100%, does that still mean crime is down? Yeah, I don't know what that means. Constitution Day in September. I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it. Probably should, right? Probably do. I might. Maybe I'll walk everybody through take a new stab at the constitutional map. I think that's thing worth walking through again, maybe. Yeah, I'm glad to be here and glad to be kind of showing you what's happening. So oh, thank you very much, Joe. I am putting a ton in, so I'm glad it's starting to land. So here's the deal, guys. For anybody who is coming in, I wanted to come down, show you what was going on at Union Station in Washington, D.C. here. And the word is, but I've been hearing this word for a little while now, that this protest is on its way here. That there's this group of veterans who are staging a sit-in, and they're coming here, and I figured I should stay here and let you see it. But can't confirm. So I'm going to sit here for a while, and we'll see if it shows up, but that's what we're waiting on. Let's see. Meanwhile, it's kind of quiet. It is, yeah, it is really quiet. So Rose, yeah, that was what I said earlier, and is that it depends on your definition of bad, I guess. And this is something that I wanted to make clear. It is up to you guys to decide for yourself whether a single member of the military being here to enforce the law is problematic or not. That I am not here to talk. That's your decision. What I do want you to see is what is actually here and how that changes over time in real life. Not just, because if you're going to watch the news, they're going to go find videos of things that are interesting. So what we just did, that walk we just did, there are a few guys sitting right here. We just walked all the way over to the Capitol. There's nobody else. And there's nobody by my house. So that is what I can tell you as far as numbers. But as far as sort of the philosophy of it, that's up to you guys. That's your decision. That's what I want. But I do want you to know what's on the ground. And like I said, over time, how that changes. Because if there are 10 people here today and there are 40 people here in a week, that is a different thing. And you're not necessarily going to be able to tell the difference if all you see is one video with a bunch of people in it and another video with a bunch of people in it. So that's why we're here letting you see this firsthand as much as possible. Popping noise. Might be this lady rolling, or this gentleman rolling. He had a rolling bag. He was going past me. And yeah, so somebody says overreach. That, again, these are questions of well, actually some of them might be questions of law, and I'm happy to discuss the legal aspects at some point. Not right now, because I got to sit down and prepare for that sort of thing. But the policy part of it, the questions that are, for politicians to decide, those aren't my questions to answer. That's not what I do. So, but I really do think it's important to see this in real life. I wanted to see it in real life. I am down here because this is something that I think I need to see. So, that's part of why I'm here. And yeah, this is Flair. That's Good Trouble Politics he's talking about there. And that actually brings me to another point, which is that there are so many people on the internet who know a lot more about politics than I do, talking about politics. Follow them. Listen to them. I don't know them, I do know a lot about law, and that's usually what I talk about. So, and nobody else is talking about law. So that's kind of, I try to stay in my wheelhouse. So the sit-in is supposed to be walking this way. That's what I'm looking for. They should be here at some point. Law things I would like to share. I will tell you, I started about, the number of military there's a big, now there might be two groups. I don't know. I just saw another big group over by the door. I started when the whole thing went down in LA. I started doing a really deep research dive on use of the military within the American borders, and the history of use of the militias and all that kind of stuff, and how all that happened with the development of the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, and it's really fast. There's a lot of really fascinating history back there. That's I'm not sure a lot of as much as attention is paid to it as needs to be. But unfortunately, I spent like a week or two on it, and I just got behind on everything else, and I kind of had to throw it in a binder and stick it on my bookshelf. I was like, I hope I get back to this. So I'm hoping that I bring it back out and get back into it, because there's a ton of great stuff to read. I actually have in my shared documents in my link tree this 3-part book on use of the militias within U.S. borders, written by the Army Historical Society. So it's a great resource. It's great information, and it goes right back into the constitutional debates. So it's fascinating, and if anybody wants to read it, I have it PDF'd in 3 volumes somewhere in my shared documents under National Guard somewhere. So definitely worth checking out. But I think that one of the things that is really, really under looked at, Article 4, Section 4, the second half of Article 4, Section 4, talks about when the federal government is allowed to call in the militia to protect the states. And I don't think that clause is considered very often in the jurisprudence about these questions. The clauses in Articles 1 and 2 are looked at a lot, but not the one in Article 4, and I think that is something that needs to get looked at. So someday, I might write a thing on that. Okay. One other thing of note here is that, as much as I'm sitting around here looking for the protest and the sit-in to show up, press is not here anymore. And there were a ton of them here like an hour ago. That's not a great sign. So I don't know if somebody said that they just looked and they were headed over here, but if anybody knows. I have not heard about Congress investigating DC crime statistics. Oh, thanks, Moo Moo. I'm glad to do it. I just want to know if check and see if we're waiting for something or not. Oh, that breeze is. You can see it's really kicking up. NBC just reported. Oh, okay, I see. Checkpoints for random people. So I've heard that. I don't think that is military. I think those are federal agencies that are doing that, is my understanding. And those are kind of out. Well, I did hear that at some point there may have been one here at Union Station, but I haven't seen it with my own eyes, so I cannot tell you that for sure. I've heard also been some on kind of some of the major roads coming into town. We don't have a lot of highways that come in from the north side of town. We don't really have any highways come in from the north side of town, just big streets. So a couple of the streets I think have been blocked off as checkpoints. But again, I haven't seen it because I don't drive. Anybody who's followed me long enough knows that I have one remaining car, and the gas tank for that remaining car is sitting in my living room. So, for now, I am not driving. The DC organizing document. Well, I think there are several. So I think that we are rooted in the U.S. Constitution. That creates us. And then there's a series of different ones, but I think the one that we refer to the most is the Home Rule Act. That is the one in 1973 that created the current government. So that's something I've mentioned. You know, there, and I'm going to try to say this without sort of judgment. There are two possible missions here. One would be to actually stop something from happening at the place where these guys are stationed. The other would be to just be seen, and by being seen, stop things from happening everywhere. And the latter is not an unheard of way of crime prevention. You know, just having a broader view of, you know, people who could have an impact on crime may by itself have an impact on crime. So that might be the intention of putting them here where a lot of people are going to see them instead of in a high crime area. And it's not the craziest thing I've ever heard. You know, there is a potentially logical reason for doing that. But I have also said that, you know, in my neighborhood, there is nothing. And I would say my neighborhood probably has a little bit more, certainly more crime in it than here. But also more than, you know, any of the other areas that I've seen a presence or heard that there's a presence. But like I said, just objectively, there could be an actual reason for doing it that wouldn't be totally out there. Whether or not you think that is a good enough reason or not, well, that's fine. No, they are not in high crime areas. You know, they're in places like this. From what no, they're not in high crime areas. That might also, you know, potentially, well, never mind, yeah. But there are, and somebody else is saying something, and there are other explanations aside from the one that I just gave you for why they're here instead of somewhere else, which are also possibilities. I just wanted to throw out one possibility to say that there are possible reasons that aren't crazy. Updates on the Newsom, California case? No, I just, what was the last thing I saw? I saw something, but it was just, you know, procedural, I think. I think they just, nothing super important, I don't think. Yeah, actually, I almost did a whole thing on the morning report. I wrote in a joke the other day, and then something crazy happened at the last minute and I had to rewrite it. Because there was a whole docket entry that I had to actually go through the process of opening and reading, and the entire docket entry just said that there was a folder for somebody to pick up on shelf 101 in a certain room. And it was like, you know, I lost like 15 minutes finding that piece of information. So I did a whole bit on it, but I think that was the most important thing that's happened in that case in the last few days. So, Shelf 101, if anybody wants to go see what's on Shelf 101. Kev Boy, you know, again, like I said, there are multiple explanations, but I just didn't want to leave it at there is only one possible explanation for this, which is, you know, there are, you know, so. Trying to Yes. Yeah, the big trucks are gone. I earlier did ask somebody what happened, and they said that this is a different group of National Guardsmen that came out. They were the other ones that were here came with those trucks, or I don't know if these are National Guard or who they are, but the guys who were here before. Oh, here they are. I think these are them. So the National Guard who were here before came with the trucks, and so when they were rotated out, they took the trucks with them. So this, I think, guys, are the protesters.